Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Elevate. My name is Jessica.
And my name is Darwin.
And today we're going to be talking about imposter syndrome.
Oof.
What is imposter syndrome? Do you think you've ever had imposter syndrome?
I don't know. Tell me the definition.
Okay, so according to the definition of Google, imposter syndrome is the persistent inability to believe that one's success is deserved or has been legitimately achieved as a result of one's own effort or skills.
Nah, not me.
I think this has totally been you several times over and over.
My life. My life.
So why do we disclaimer, we are not psychologists, we are not professionals in mental health, we are not maybe we are self-diagnosing ourselves a little bit, but we're just going through the motions of life and entrepreneurship. No, but it's I guess a feeling that many people, I guess people who have achieved any type of anything could end up feeling. So I've heard many people just throwing the term around.
Yeah.
Like imposter syndrome, and usually you hear mostly entrepreneurs throw this word around.
Or creators.
Right. And so why do you think that some of us may feel imposter syndrome? What makes us feel that we don't deserve our accomplishments?
I don't know what other people feel. I know what I feel.
What tell me, what are your thoughts?
Tell me, what do you feel? I don't know. The way I see it, this is the way my brain works, is that, and I have the discussion a lot because we talk about creating content, like me and Brian, or when I talk to you, and I see so many people creating content. I'm like, damn, I could do that. But in the back of my head, I'm like, no, you can't.
You doubt yourself.
Yeah,
you doubt that you
myself.
can do it. Mm-hmm.
I'm like, I haven't made it. Like, why should I be talking about things like that? And then, but to the average person, not average person, but to somebody would be like, what do you mean you didn't make it? Like, look at what you have. And I'm like, I guess success to me this is not success for me.
Right. You don't feel.
But to somebody else that, let's say their goal is this, maybe that's success. So to me, I'm not at a level that I can say like, oh, I've made it. Like I want to share, because this is just like a stepping stone of where I'm at in my life.
Yeah, and we still have a lot to learn, and we recognize that. And I think that's actually something that's good. I don't feel like anytime you're in your life, you should feel just complacent and not wanting to better yourself. I think that life is about that. In my personal opinion, it's about elevating and always, moving forward and, thinking about, okay, what can I improve on? Like in what aspect can my life be better? How can I help someone else? Just evolving constantly. But
I mean, I do feel like I do help people when, like through DMs and stuff like that, when people ask me questions. So I know I'm capable of doing it. And I guess I do. This is me accepting the fact that I know some things. I do know a lot, right? Like
you do.
So I feel comfortable sharing that to people that reach out to me to say it. But like for me to be out there and say like, hey, this is my new persona. Like I'm the know-it-all and like I'm the guru of doing this.
I don't think anybody should have that attitude of I'm the know-it-all, but you should be confident in what you have learned.
Okay.
You should be confident in what you've learned and what you've put into practice. I feel like I'm constantly always telling you, or mostly when you were more like into taking a lot of clients for photography, I always felt like I was always saying, reassuring you that your work was up there.
Yeah.
Like I would see your editing skills and your work finished, and I would be like, oh my God, that's like amazing. Like I was always amazed at your finished product. And sometimes you would just look at it like, it's not that serious. It's not, I don't think like I know enough. And I would just look at you like, are you kidding me right now? Like, you just created something that I felt at the time someone would have paid a lot to get. And so I know that you have battled in the past. I think you're learning to put value to your work now. But it's been a constant battle of maybe the people, some of us who are around you, speaking you in a way for you to believe that you are worth more than you think.
But also I think that I'm adding more value to my work because I'm starting to value my time more. So it's like, do I really want to waste the time doing this project for this amount of money? It's not worth me. That amount of time is not worth that amount of money. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, mostly because you're learning, you're getting more clear. You're getting clearer and clearer every day on what your actual goal is and what are the steps that you need to take in order to get there. So you're starting to realize, I need to put value to my time, because otherwise I'm just going to be on this rat race, you know, or on the hamster wheel, just going around in circles and not getting to my goal. Because that's what ends up happening. When you have a lot of value to give, if you don't know how to value yourself and accept that your time is valuable, people are going to do whatever they want with your time. And they might not be doing it in a malicious way, and some people might. But you're going to end up losing, you know, a lot of your time and your value and your effort. And that's not what you want. You want to take what God has given you, your gifts, your talent, and be able to potentially, you know, if that is your goal, live off that talent and that gift that God has given you.
But is it imposter syndrome if, like, I'm not at my destination of, like, my actual goal? So, like, maybe where people see me is like, wow, like, he made it. But in my eyes, I'm like, I haven't. Like, let's put this as an example. Like, we have the studio for a lot of creators, photographers, videographers. Like, this is, like, the ultimate goal. Like, but I'm still not, like, all right. Like, okay.
Well, because
like
because you know, for you, this isn't the goal. This isn't the ultimate goal, but this is something we should be proud of.
It is, but how do I go on social media and say, like, oh, this is, I guess, not how you do this, but, like, I don't know.
You don't, I know what you're saying. Like, you don't want to go out there and make it seem like you have it all done. Like, you have it all. It's all said and done for you because you opened a space, and it's like, nah, like, that's it. I'm the know it be all of, you know, studios, which is ridiculous to even say. And I think that there's nothing wrong with that. That's, in my opinion, that's being humble. You know that you don't know it all, and we don't know it all. Yeah. We're learning as we go. But when it comes to imposter syndrome, it's not about being realistic, because I feel like your thoughts right now, they're realistic. We don't know it all. No, we are no one to sit here and say we're gurus and we know it all in terms of this business of having a photography studio. Like, we barely have 2 months doing this thing. So it would be ridiculous to sit here and say, you know, like, this is how you become successful at this, because we have not reached that level of success. We're on the journey. But there's nothing wrong with, in this process, being happy and content with getting this far. Even
no, I'm definitely happy, and I'm grateful for it all the time. I'm like, this is, it's still surreal. Like, this is crazy. Like, we walk in here every day, but I feel like social media plays a big factor in it. As in, like, some people will start a business and, like, go on social media and start saying, like, oh, like, they're the expert, right? But now that we're more behind the scenes when it comes to business and all that, we kind of noticing, like, yo, most people are just figuring it out as they go. Yeah. So the reality is that most of the people that are on social media talking all that guru stuff
as experts, they're
not.
Yeah. I think that it's mostly, I mean, we have to look at
it. It's the game.
Right. We have to look at it from
I understand it.
We have to look at it from a business perspective, right? So if you go on camera, right, and you don't sound confident, you don't sound like you know, like you think you know it all, chances are people are not going to believe what you're saying.
And that's probably why I don't do it.
Yeah, because internally you have a battle. You have a battle of, why am I going to stand in front of all these people and say and act like I know what I'm doing exactly when I don't feel like I know it all? And the reality is nobody knows it all.
And will you ever know it all?
But you won't. That's the thing. But you need to have the confidence to come off as someone who's capable. That's the key. You need to come off as someone who's capable because otherwise people won't believe your words. People won't. If you're selling a course, they're not going to buy your course if you sound like, well, today you need to sound confident. I'm here. This is what I did to take my business from this or whatever. And so, I mean, that's something else. I mean, you don't have to do that.
I mean, but maybe.
But here's the thing. You've made it this far. Yeah. And to make it here, you had to go through a lot. You had to become that part-time photographer who took just any client so that you could get good at your craft. You had to watch hours and hours on end of editing videos. You had to take courses. Whatever you had to do, you had to go through a journey to get to where you are today. There are people who are starting today who you are technically a guru for them.
I guess.
You know, so everything is about perspective. It's about who we're talking about. It's about who your audience is. Yeah. It's about who you want your audience to be, because I can present myself as, I don't know, the guru in makeup, but let's say my audience, the audience that I want to target are the beginners. Yeah. I might be a guru for the beginners because I've done wedding makeup, you know, I've done makeup on various people. And for those beginners, I know a lot. Yeah. But I might not be the person to give a class or be the guru for someone who is already on my level, because they're trying to learn more.
Maybe for me is that, because I feel like I don't battle that issue. Like if I'm talking in person to somebody, like I'm very like, yo, this is what it took. This is what we did. Showing them, explaining. Like I feel like I'm very good at that in person.
Like now, one-on-one.
Yeah. Or like a group environment. Like, but actually in person.
Oh, okay.
So I think the issue for me is to sit down and say, hey, so today we're opening up a studio. Because I just feel like, yo, dude, are you full of shit? Do you sound stupid?
No te quiere creer la película. You don't want to, you know,
or maybe that's like an insecurity. Like
you don't want to portray that online. Or maybe you
or
you
I'm
don't
fierce of being judged.
Yeah, maybe you're fearful of coming off the wrong way. And having maybe the people that have known you, let's say from high school, from, you know, your early 20s, who knew who you were back then, watch this video and say, mira, este ahora se cree que yo no sé quién, like, you know, he, you know, so, but those are the type of things that hold us back.
I know.
You know, it's like, those are the type of things we have to fight every day.
Yeah.
And it's hard. Like, it's hard to sometimes, you know, be in this social media world or try to excel at something and know that you have to have a social media presence, because nowadays, if you have a business, you have to have a social media presence. There's no way around that. And so sometimes people get stuck on the opinions of those, especially those closest to us, or those people who have known us before we had this business.
And not even just that, just like I'm my own worst critic. So it's like I will see it and I'll be like, hey, you're capable of more, but then that more takes more work. And I'm like, you know what? I'm just not going to do it.
That you?
Yeah, like when we're creating something, I'm like, we could probably do better. But then it's like, what's better? You know, like what's better to me is like whatever we put out to somebody else is like, yo, this shit is insane. And to me, it's like,
depends on the audience you're talking about. But that's when you have to be clear on who is it that you're trying to reach? Because that matters a lot.
Of course, yeah.
You know, when in terms of when you're creating content, who is it that you're trying to reach? And that will determine, you know, how hard you need to go. I'll
give an example for, I think it was me and Brian that was talking. And I was like, yo, I could literally do, not a course, but like I could literally do content on how to build a podcast. Or I could say, I could create content on how to build a successful podcast. Now, in my eyes, like, is my podcast successful? No. In somebody else's eyes, is our podcast successful?
Depends on who we're talking about. Absolutely. That's why I say it's important to know.
But that's my issue. Like, me going on camera saying, like, hey, this is how you build a successful podcast. Which I guess we're successful because, like, our audio platforms, we started at 0. It's not at 0 no more.
And we're getting consistent views on YouTube for our podcast.
And yeah,
it's not thousands of views, but it's consistent. And
our downloads on Spotify are like really good. Like, people are downloading the podcast. So that means somebody's actually listening. And just like the set, like when you go back to day 1 to here, and like all the improvements that we have made, meaning like that is growth. Like I was listening to a video of Sean Cannell, and he was saying like it's all about perspective.
Absolutely.
Because if he goes in your channel or whatever it is, and he says, hey, you grew by 20%, that's growth. Maybe it's not the 200% that you wanted, but you still grew. Absolutely. So you can't say you're not growing, because you are growing. It's just not at the speed
you want to grow.
Exactly.
Yeah. And sometimes we put too much value on the big numbers. And when we think about it, like we get on our podcast, we get minimum 100 views. That's the very minimum we get on every podcast. If we do a meetup, 100 people is a lot of people.
For sure.
And you can do a lot, you know, with that, if in terms of business. And sometimes you also have to think about, you know, having consistent views or having a consistent audience is more valuable than having huge numbers and having flip-flopping audiences. You know, like audiences that don't really know you or don't really follow your journey.
Well, that's where it started. I was watching a video, and the husband of a girl was calling in or emailing him, and he actually worked full-time for his wife because she started creating content, short-form content, like shorts, and like blew up. She has like 3 million subscribers. But what they're saying is that they don't have like solid people, like watch time on their long thing. And what he was saying was that they build a short-form platform, which gets a lot of views. They're getting like 3 million views a month, but they don't have an audience.
That's retained.
They're getting they have views, but they don't have the audience, compared to somebody who's growing slower, but is doing longer format content.
And over from people who have been successful in these platforms, we continue to hear that slow growth is better than fast growth because of that, because you build a community over time. Like you can have an instant boost of people watching you. That doesn't mean that they're going to stick around.
And the majority of people say, like, you know, everybody always searches for the viral video. But the thing is that the viral video, what happens most of the time is that people just be like, oh yeah, I'll follow them. And then when maybe what you posted is not necessarily like what you're about.
Right.
So that person follow you for that video. And then when they start seeing your other ones, like, and then they just forget to unsubscribe or follow.
And that hurts your...
and then they just become a ghost follower or subscriber.
And that hurts your social media because it's like now they're a follower, but they're not engaging. And so that hurts your social media overall. Yeah,
because the platforms are showing them the content, and if they're not engaging with it...
What it's telling the platform is that...
oh, that sucks.
Right. And that might not be true.
Yeah, it might not suck. It's just they're not into it. But you went viral for posting your dog eating, I don't know, something. Yeah. It's tricky.
But going back to the imposter syndrome, don't you think that sometimes like the imposter syndrome might come from maybe voices in your head that you have because of, let's say, family members, for instance, or you growing up in an environment that now doesn't match your vision, doesn't match the vision you're trying to go.
Mm-hmm.
Because sometimes, even, you know, as bad as it may sound, our parents may be the main reason sometimes why we have imposter syndrome, I think. Because it's almost like, depending on where you come from, right? The success you may want to reach may not be viewed in the right light with some parents, you know, depending on where you come from. Again, you may come from a religious background, you know, you have a mom who demonizes money, for example. Like, I can relate to that so much. Like, I know my parents, let's say I'm gonna be specific. My mom knows money is important, but I've noticed as I've grown older that she has a very negative connection to money. Like, she has this thought that, like, money is evil. Mm-hmm. So in the things she say, subliminally, she might not, she doesn't mean bad.
Yeah.
I know she doesn't. She's my mom. She wants the best for me. But in the things she say, she makes me understand that she believes that when people have too much money, they aren't good.
Yeah.
Or they can turn evil. And I feel like that's just such a wrong way to look at money, because money, I know some people don't like to think of it that way, but money makes the world go round. You, depending on the type of person that you are, money will either make you a worse person than you already are. It's going to magnify whatever you already are. Like, if you are a bad person,
he says money will amplify who you are.
Yes. Yeah. If you're a bad person and you get a lot of money, you're going to be a worse person. Even worse.
For real.
If you are a good person and you get a lot of money, you're going to do good things with that money. So I always tell my mom, like, poor people or minorities, we need to get this mindset out of our head, because that is what's keeping us down here.
Yeah.
And, you know, some of these beliefs, they're good for, let's say, the people on top who some of them maybe don't want to see us winning, because as long as we keep believing that money is evil, we will never get out of poverty and, you know, that mindset of scarcity. And so what I'm saying is, sometimes there's certain beliefs that are placed in our mind, even as we're growing up, from our own parents, that when we are at this stage where we're trying to change the narrative and we're trying to do something totally different than our parents, because we have so much more resources than they did in the past with the internet and, you know, all these information that we have access to on our phones, it can be difficult to accept when you're starting to see that change for you. Yeah. Like, it could be difficult to accept, like, oh my God, my life is starting to look a little different. And it wasn't like this before. And
that's why people, most of the time, when you're stepping out of that zone, where, I guess for us, where, you know, we grew up lower class, you can call it the lower class. When you start stepping up, people start saying, oh, this guy's changing. Like, no, maybe he's not changing. Maybe he's just, like, more informed now of what, like, actual life and how it's supposed to work. But they don't want to accept that.
No.
To them,
because it's difficult.
Yeah. To them, is right away. The first instinct is, oh, the money changed them.
Right.
Now the money didn't change me.
No, I don't believe it's a perspective thing. It's a perspective, and some people don't like to see the other person doing something different, or let's say, quote unquote, better than them, because it brings out their insecurities. It brings out everything that they don't want to face. And
funny thing is that most people that are, let's say, middle to higher class, they live a life that is kind of like they have money, right, to afford the nicer things, but the chances are they're also living paycheck to paycheck. But it seems like, oh, this guy has this house in the suburbs and has a car. So you in your head, you're like, a movie.
Yeah.
This guy has crazy money.
Yeah, absolutely.
But little do you know, they're just living paycheck to paycheck, but they're squeezing everything to be able to live a better life.
Right. They have a better car. They have a better house. But that doesn't mean that they manage their money well. You could be really rich in terms of, you know, of where I come from, a person who's making millions of dollars, right? Who for the people that come from where I come from, that's a lot of money. But that does not mean that that person is managing their money well and that they're not living paycheck to paycheck. There's doctors who make millions of dollars who live paycheck to paycheck because they get themselves in problems and in debt and they live certain lifestyles that still beyond their means.
Yeah.
You could still live beyond your means and have millions of dollars.
Yeah.
You just, if you don't know how to manage your money, it doesn't matter how much money you have, you will still be.
You all spend it.
Yeah. In the negative.
For real.
It could still happen. So that's like a different problem. But
story of my life. No.
But yeah, you know, I think that when we're starting to do better for ourselves, and you know, it's important to recognize when we have done something better, you know, and it's not about getting cocky or believing that you're better than someone else, but more so just patting yourself in the back and say, good job. Like, you have to acknowledge, you know, when you also do good. Like, that's not a bad thing.
Yeah.
And,
excuse the music if you hear anything.
Yes. And it's okay. Like, it's also good to have people around you who are real with you.
Yeah.
And tell you things how it is. You know, like I'm real with you. Like, if I see, you know, a portrait that you do and I think it could be better, I have told you that in the past.
For sure.
And so you know for a fact that if I tell you this is fire, I love it, I mean it. You know, I mean it. Like, you have done a really good job. And, you know, it's just important to be around people who are going to keep it real with you.
Yeah.
And it's important for ourselves to recognize when we have done a good job and when we have earned what we have gotten in life. But yeah.
Let's wrap it up because we got some musical jams playing next door.
All right, you guys. That's it for today's podcast, you guys. Thank you so much for listening or watching. If you're here on YouTube, don't forget to give us a like. If you came to the end of the video, don't forget to leave your comments down below. Let us know what are your thoughts on imposter syndrome. Have you ever felt this way? Have you ever felt like you don't deserve your achievements, like you are a fraud? Tell us how you feel about this topic. Hit the bell so you'll be notified every time we post a video. If you are on any of our audio platforms, don't forget to leave us your reviews. It really helps us out. And that's it for today's podcast, you guys. Thank you so much for watching or listening. Until next time.
Peace.